All right, so I wanted to talk about this a little bit, not necessarily into depth, but I did find this very interesting from the draft, and everybody's talking about it, and it's Jordan Love to the Green Bay Packers. Now, if you watched my quarterbacks rankings video, you would know I was never on this Jordan Love bandwagon, never thought he was Mahomes. There were some people who I know who are on this bandwagon saying, oh, this is the next Mahomes. This is the guy who's got all the talent in the world. My stance on Jordan Love was I think he's probably the fifth best quarterback in this draft. And I also believe that he needs to sit 2 to 3 years behind a really good quarterback and get the system down. That way he can translate. Because I think he's very raw. I think he needs a lot of work. Now, I know hypothetically it sounds, it's easy for you to say that now. Go back and watch that video. That's what I said. It so happened that he landed in a place to where he would sit and learn behind a veteran quarterback, learn the system. But the only problem is this veteran quarterback has 4 years left on his deal. And normally, the hypothetical thing to say is, hey, well, he'll sit and he'll learn. Well, what you're seeing in the last few years is that's not the truth. That's not what's happening. The longest that somebody sat as far as drafted quarterbacks is Mahomes, and that was a year behind Alex Smith. And yes, it turned out fantastic. However, it's not always the case. I'm on record saying I believe Miami should not start Tua Tagovailoa at all this year. Not because I don't think he's good. I do think he's good. I think they have their franchise quarterback of the future. But you have got to make sure he's healthy. To me, these quarterbacks who come in from college aren't sitting anymore. Baker Mayfield got thrown into the fire because of Tyrod Taylor's concussion. And Baker should have started from the beginning regardless. You look at Sam Darnold. He comes in and starts. Josh Allen. Lamar after a little bit. I'm trying to think past quarterbacks. Mitchell Trubisky, Watson, Mahomes, we talked about after the year. Jared Goff, Carson Wentz. These guys have started pretty much immediately, if not shortly after the season has started. Like I said, the longest case has been Patrick Mahomes. So the notion of saying, well, he can just sit and learn, like I said, is what I believe should happen. It's just not common anymore. It doesn't happen. Even though it should, it doesn't happen. So they can't trade Aaron Rodgers now because I don't know for a fact, but I believe the cap hit on that was like $50 million. Absolutely insane. But the year after, I think it's down to like 30. Brett Favre was almost in the same situation that Aaron's currently in, where you draft a successor way early. The difference there is Aaron Rodgers was expected to be the number 1 overall pick and fell. Jordan Love is the lower half of the quarterbacks ranked, and you traded up. He didn't fall to you, you traded up. Now, I think there's something to say when Bill Belichick passes. The Saints passed on Jordan Love. Both of these teams were looking for quarterbacks at the time. Now, I'm of the assumption that the Patriots are going to sign Andy Dalton. I know it's come down to the Jags and the Patriots. I've always thought that Andy would be that fit in New England because of the play style. And I think you put him in a system that can help him out. I think he can still be a pretty decent quarterback. I think I don't know if he could necessarily get them to the playoffs, but he can get them over 500. Okay. And talking about New Orleans, they just signed their quarterback of the future, not named Taysom Hill. And this will be for another video, but I absolutely love them getting Jameis Winston. I think this is something that you're going to look back at and be like, man, I can't believe they went straight from Breeze to Winston. And I know it sounds crazy, but just a preview for that next video at some point. Look at Jameis Winston's numbers, right? If you cut the interceptions in half, 15. 30 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, you're thinking this guy's a really good to an elite quarterback. His yards, his completions aren't terrible. If you get him in a system where he can sit and learn, kind of regroup, rethink, behind Drew Brees is the perfect guy to do this. In the Saints system, where he's going to have a lot of weapons, good offensive line, and I think the quarterbacks there in front of him and the coaches around him are going to be able to help mold him, control his decision-making a lot better. I think that's a fantastic get. And like I said, I'll talk about that later. But Jordan Love is not my guy. Never was a fan of him. Aaron Rodgers has got to be pretty pissed because you get to, I can't remember if they were in the NFC Championship. I believe so. Was it Packers? Yes, it was Packers, 49ers in the NFC Championship, if I'm not mistaken. And Aaron Rodgers, at his age, with his deal, his contract that he has a number one receiver in Davante Adams. He's got a running back. They go out and they draft a tight end, right? But outside of Davante Adams, his receivers aren't it, okay? This is one of the deepest wide receiver drafts in years, since probably 2014. Not only do you not draft one in the first round, you don't draft one, period, okay? My problem with the Packers is not that they didn't draft one in the first round. My problem with the Packers is, hey, look at how many picks you had. Look at the talent that was there. You didn't draft a single one. Not a single one. Now, I know you got the tight end out of Cincinnati. I really like that get. But it's like you got your Hall of Fame quarterback. You were in the NFC Championship, and that you don't get him a weapon, not at all. And I thought the Packers, when they traded up, I actually called it. I said, watch the Packers. I texted my friend. He said, there's no way. I mean, he would probably tell you, but I said, watch the Packers take Jordan Love here. Because I was waiting for it. I thought New England was going to take him. I thought the Saints was going to take him. And then when the Packers traded up, I was like, watch them take him. And I wouldn't have. I would have taken Patrick Queen. Now Baltimore has him. So, that's the thing. I said he needs to sit 2 years, probably. If you're the Packers, that's probably what needs to happen. But you look at the history of recent drafted quarterbacks, and more than a year is unlikely. So Aaron Rodgers is going to finish his career somewhere else. I think there's a couple different spots, and I'm not going to get into that, but the Packers have no clue what they're doing. Most of their draft, I'm like, it doesn't make sense. The running back they got, yeah, he was all right. There was better ones available. Could have took a receiver. Aaron Rodgers has got to be, I can't even imagine what's going through his head. The distrust, the betrayal. It's absolutely insane. I'm not saying Jordan Love can't be good, because I do think he can eventually. But right now, I don't know how deep the quarterback classes in the next few years are, but if Jordan Love turns out to be what I think he's going to be, this is a huge mistake. Now, if he turns out to be what some people say with the next Mahomes, great, good for you. But hypothetically, you look at the big picture, look where you were at last year. You don't think if you add some more help, Patrick Queen on the defense, you don't add a receiver, T. Higgins, that would have been perfect. It's ridiculous. I don't know what they're doing in Green Bay. I don't really love Aaron Rodgers the person. I love Aaron Rodgers the player. But the person, he rubs me the wrong way sometimes. But you got to feel for him. It's like you won a Super Bowl with this organization. You've had success with this organization. And it's like here they are stabbing you in the back. It's got to be terrible. So I know rambled a little bit there, but that's just my thoughts on this. I'd be extremely frustrated. So yeah. So next video I want to talk about Jameis Winston to the Saints. And I'm going to explain why I think this is an absolute steal. So, if you care, stay tuned for that video. So, hope y'all are doing good. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.